Hello, my friends. Good morning, or whatever time of day it is for you. I'm Annalisa, and welcome to episode 21 of Let's Talk Soul to Soul. I'm very much looking forward to welcoming all of you here, as well my special guest Amanda, who is joining us from Vancouver Island. So please get yourself comfortable. Maybe grab a hot or a cold drink. And it's a fresh morning. So I'm feeling extra cozy with a nice warm drink. I even had to turn on my fireplace this morning, which may come as a shock for some of you, depending on where you're joining us. Awesome. I see that Amanda is here, and we'll just work on getting you on this screen, Amanda. And as others are joining, please feel free to drop a comment. Let us know where you're joining us from. And at any time during our conversation, please don't hesitate to share a thought, a question. Awesome. So here we are. Amanda, if you're joining from a computer, you might find that, oh, look at this. Hang on, I think there she is. Hi, Amanda. How are you?
I'm doing really
Oh,
well, thanks.
I'm
How are you,
great.
Annalisa?
Thank you. We did it.
Yeah, it's a little bit intimidating, but we did it.
There you go. Just one more way to connect, right, Amanda? Which
Oh yeah,
is,
definitely. Yeah.
I think, just so important, and why I'm here with you today. I'm just giving,
I'm really excited.
thank you. I'm just giving our friends a few moments to get settled in. I was explaining I have a hot drink here because it's actually fresh in Banff. What about you?
Mm, well, it's a little different here. I'm on Vancouver Island. I'm in Nanaimo, so it is quite mild. There's a lot of spring blooms happening. So it's nice. We're on
Oh,
a good track right now. Yeah, we've had lots of nice like spring showers, which brings the beautiful
yes.
flowers, of course. So
Oh,
yeah, it's
that's
pretty epic.
awesome. It's amazing the differences
Hmm.
in the temperature, and considering that we're actually not that far. We do have some grass greening here. And I was doing a kids bike camp yesterday, and we still have snow on the ground. Oh
Oh, you
yeah.
do? Yeah, yeah. We still have snow in our higher
Yeah.
elevations here in the mountains for sure, but yeah, being closer to the ocean, it's like so
Yes.
much more mild and
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
warmer. Yeah.
Well, thank you for spending this time with me and with all who are able to join us live. Amanda, I will share this with you so that you can collaborate and distribute it however you'd
Yeah.
like, okay? And you, oh,
Yeah, yeah, that's
you're
excellent.
most
Thank you.
welcome.
Yeah.
And so, as we just settle into this moment, I just invite everyone really to take a few deep breaths and just put down what you may be carrying. We're starting a week, and already there may be some to-do lists, massive to-do lists, some worries, some future thinking that's getting in the way of being right here, right now. And I know that this is something I'm saying to you, but I am mindfully joining you settling into this moment, easing, soothing my nervous system as I invite you to do the same as we offer each other what feels like a heart massage, simply by gathering as we are energetically. And so a few more breaths. Lovely. And so, my friends, you know, these soul to souls are really an opportunity for us to connect, to build bridges with each other. I've met some incredible people on this journey, this soulful adventure, I call it, Amanda, of the last 7 months since I started Instagram, social media for the first time. This is all new to me, this whole world of connecting this way.
Yeah.
But the intent really is aligned with a deep desire to build bridges. We have so much to learn from each other. And so soul to souls just give me the great honor of shining the spotlight on the unique stories, missions, lessons, whatever, of beautiful people, everyday people like you, like me, who are going out into the world during heavier times, I think, you know, overall, and who are shining light of possibility. And by doing so, sparking possibility in others. And that's what this is all about, Amanda. And so, you know, this is episode 21, and it's been such a beautiful theme that's kind of woven its way, and this intention that's blossoming as the spring is, this new life, this energy we're generating soul to soul. And I want to acknowledge one of our soul sisters, Lori, who is the founder of Merkaba Health Collective, who was a guest here and is now offering practitioners of all modalities of holistic health and wellness a subscription at a discounted rate for joining what is truly a new paradigm of holistic health and wellness that is focusing on the individual journey and the collective journey. So I'll be sharing that in the notes, as well as your information, so that anyone here who's listening and passing this beautiful conversation along has that and can connect with you directly. Okay? And so, Amanda, I have just a few highlights I want to share before I just turn the spotlight on you, okay? I was always so, when we first connected, I was following your Instagram, and I just found it so intriguing and it just inspiring. There were so many paths that, you know, similarities in your path and your interests. So I'm going to share a little background, just a tip of the iceberg.
Yes,
the tip. So, Amanda, you are a certified nutritional practitioner, a healthy meal prep coach. You do private consulting. You're a multi-passionate, though, entrepreneur. When I look at everything you're doing, you are a lover of food, of nature, of dogs, of, as you say, great humans, and I think spin classes too.
Oh, yes, I do the spin classes.
You are a multi-passionate entrepreneur. I see that. And as I watch you share stories of your experiences out in nature or of what you're creating, there's just this beautiful glow. And it's of someone who is turning their passions into meaningful work and opening the doors for others. So I love this quote. You say, When you nurture yourself, you become a stronger, more empowered, and resilient human, allowing you to tap into your unique superpowers. I love that. And that's the essence for me of living true and living free. It's tapping in and
Yeah.
being able to release without limits.
Yeah.
And so, my friend,
Yeah.
this is where I invite you, please, to share what's on your heart with us today.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh my
you're
goodness. Well, thank
welcome.
you. It this has been a journey for me too, and still something that I feel like is always a
Yeah,
practice. So, I mean, I feel like I can start with where my
yeah.
personal health journey really started for me. I was around 30 years old, so almost like 14 years ago, I found a benign
Mm,
lump on my thyroid, and it was about two
wow.
fingers like wide on my thyroid. I just happened to be sitting on the couch one day, and I happened to just touch my neck, and I
Mm,
felt this lump, and
yeah,
holy
exactly.
shit, like what is this? And I felt the other side, and there was nothing there. And so the very shortened version of this was I, of course, went to the doctor right away. I had some testing done right away, biopsies, that kind of thing. And I also, during that time, had these
Mm,
other symptoms. I had a lot of
mm,
brain fog, bloating, sluggish bowels. I felt like no matter how much I slept or no matter what I ate, I was always
yeah,
exhausted, like tired. So there's just like layers of stuff happening in my body that I didn't really understand at the time, but by finding this lump, I did also visit my very first naturopath. So this was my aunt had suggested, maybe you want to go visit my naturopath. She's amazing. She might be able to,
mm,
shed some light on some things that are going on. So this was my first step into, in quotes, alternative health, but like there are other healing modalities out there that are so powerful and that
yeah,
empower the human to really tune into what's going on in their bodies, and rather than have an outside person tell me what's wrong with my body. So there was a bit of a
yeah.
melding of both, to be honest. So during that time, visiting my first naturopath, I did monitor this lump on my thyroid for quite a few years, along with my ENT and my naturopath. But I also changed a lot in my lifestyle, which included
Mm,
going gluten free, reducing processed sugars, focusing on whole fresh foods, really ditching the highly processed foods that never expire.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
thing, like, told we're told by marketing and media and all this stuff that there's a lot of, in quotes, healthy things out
mm,
there for us, when in fact they're not healthy. um, and when a person really starts to make those changes in what they eat and how they eat, and feel the difference in their own bodies, it is amazing the healing powers of food, and also how simple it can be with focusing on more simple whole
mhm.
fresh foods for health and wellness. So that's where it all
Yeah,
really kicked off for me. And then I'll say, within a couple of weeks of visiting my naturopath and making these dietary changes, I was waking up clear headed. I had no idea I was sensitive to gluten. I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought that I was already eating healthy, eating a huge plate of pasta and chicken for dinner, but I'm gluten sensitive,
yeah,
so it made me feel like garbage.
yeah.
Um, so these are symptoms that people feel a lot of the time and think that they're normal, but they
Mm,
actually don't have to be normal symptoms. It can be a very different feeling on the day to day, depending on what you eat and how you eat. But it is really up to the individual to start tuning into how
yeah,
they feel in their body and what these different symptoms can show up like for them. So there is another extension to this story, if I
Yes,
can share
please.
that too, if you're interested. Yeah, so I also had this little spot in my shoulder blade that I called the
Right.
burning ball of
Wow.
fire.
Yeah.
I gave it a name. So it was just this like knot, what I thought was a knot in my shoulder blade. It was kind of tingly, it was kind of hot. And I always thought it was like I
Yeah.
had to massage. I'd roll on a ball to try and work out the muscle tension and all that. So, in addition
Yeah.
to all of these body symptoms, thyroid, I had this burning ball of fire in my shoulder blade. This burning ball of fire that I'd had for months and months, one day I all of a sudden was like, oh my gosh, it's disappeared, it's gone. And that was due to the dietary changes that I had started
Just
making.
that.
So for me,
Just the dietary.
yeah, it was like kind of mind blowing that something so simple could change so quickly with changing up how I was eating and the food that I was feeding myself. So that for me is what I call inflammation and how it shows up in my body.
Hmm.
And so when I fall off track, and we all fall off track, there's like high moments and low moments, ebbs and flows. If I'm eating too many things that I'm not really supposed to be, meaning what doesn't agree with my body, it doesn't make me feel good, or if I'm having too much caffeine
Yeah.
or too many processed foods, that I start to get a little tingle in my shoulder blade. And that's like my internal, I feel like that's my internal thermometer,
Exactly.
right? Kind of talking to me.
I
Yeah.
love that.
So this is something that I started talking about, is just really starting to tune into what might be happening in your own
Mm.
body that might be giving you signals that things might be a little bit off,
Yes.
a little off balance, right?
I love this, Amanda.
Yeah.
Everything that you're saying, because truly the body keeps the score.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And it shows up, oh man, I've had
Yes.
a plethora of things, and in addition to the physical, like changing up my dietary needs, this area, for people who are familiar with
Yes.
chakras, the throat chakra, using your voice, speaking up for yourself, this was an area that I also
Yes.
really struggled with for a
Yes.
very long time. So that could have been a reason, or, why this benign lump showed up as a signal for me to start taking care of myself in this way
Mm,
as well.
I love
Yeah.
like all of this, Amanda, just being able to see things differently, to be able to step
Yeah.
back and look at these symptoms not with judgment and anger and
No.
frustration, but with compassion and curiosity. And this has been the common thread with a
Yeah.
lot of our guests, and even for myself over the last 4 years, being able to step back
Mm-hmm.
and say, says who I need to, I don't feel worthy, or I'll never find my voice again in this country or in my community. And I use this method of thoughtful inquiry called Says Who to really break down
Yeah.
those thoughts, because that's all they are thoughts that were
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
creating my reality and trapping that energy, throat as well, that area.
Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah.
fascinating journey when we can stop and actually observe, not react out of
Yes.
fear,
Yes.
right? And what does that lead to? Often to, okay, well, let's just numb that pain. There's a quick fix. There's a
Yeah.
solution. I'll eat myself through this, or, I'll take some more pain medication or whatever it is.
Pop a pill to numb the thing for a while. Alcohol also was a huge thing for me. And just really in the last year, I've drastically reduced my alcohol intake because of still things happening in my body. But over the last 4 years for me too, I've gone through
Yeah.
huge learnings and just big life changes, and you know, this, I think this will always continue, but um, really like this is fueled where the direction I'm going in now, and the work that I want to do and how
Mm,
I want to connect with people. Um, it's, you know, I want to create a very awesome community and hold a good community around me and connect with amazing people who want to do great
mm.
things in the world. Like it just got to a point for me personally too where I'm like, all right, enough of this
Yeah,
assing
yeah,
around. Let's just start taking care of me and also share the
yeah.
things I actually want to share with people. And you know, it's a strong
Mm,
feeling I have right now. So even just being on a video call, honestly, like
yeah,
getting over my fear of public speaking was something that I also started working on
yeah,
maybe around 10 years ago. So it's like working through these really uncomfortable feelings that can show up in different ways for people, whether it's, you know, anxiety
yes.
belly, which I totally get. You can self soothe with food, you can self soothe with other things, shopping, alcohol, all the stuff. And I'm not
Hmm.
perfect by any means. Like I said, there's good days and bad days, but or not. I don't want to say bad,
For
but you
sure.
know, there's ups and downs, like ebbs and flows. Those are realities. So
No, no.
yeah, I'm rambling a bit, but it's like I feel a very, very strong pull into a certain direction right now after what felt like a very tricky
Yeah.
few years for sure.
It's,
Yeah.
Amanda, I am surrounding myself with people who help my nervous system feel safe and allow my authentic self to shine because of that struggle I was having, finding my way in the world
Yeah.
as it was, and feeling so helpless and hopeless. Um, I come with a lot of optimism. I feel very blessed
Yeah.
in my life to have that planted in, that gratitude for life. And also that, you know what, I've been blessed with gifts. We all have been, from the divine, whatever you want to call that source. And it is my sacred mission to tap into and share. And this is where
Yeah.
the bridge is, the sharing. And so that's why when you speak of your mission, I feel it. I just so feel it, Amanda. I want you to know that. And this journey, I call it the soulful adventure of reconnecting to that inner source of power, strength, wisdom. And ironically, I have beside me a compass, okay? You know, I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you, Amanda, because I really believe in divine timing. This compass, the internal compass, right? Just recalibrating, not starting from zero
Yeah.
because we've had that, but just this recalibration and these tweaks that happen along the path as you're talking about. But for me, at this very moment, Amanda, this week is Mental Health Week in Banff, and I have worked to bring caregiver supports to the Bow Valley. I'm also a caregiver for my
Mm-hmm.
mom with dementia. And the program's called Compass. And secondly,
Yeah.
this desire to connect others and bridge to self and to other, including nature, has led me to do forest therapy certification and also guiding, uh, interpretive guiding. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm needing to
Mm-hmm.
learn how to use this compass. And so when we
Yeah.
talk about this new learning and, you know, also these moments like, I'm not perfect. I'll tell you right now, coming here with you and as we speak, like I was like, oh my God, Annalise, you got so much
Yeah.
to do. You got to learn so much before your course next week and submitting your assignment. How are you going to do all this? And then here we are. And I'm like, of course, I can't do everything. You know,
Yeah.
we can all do anything, but it's then deciding what is it that lights us up. And though there may be those little distractions along the way or those obstacles, what are we doing at those precise moments. And you're sharing, Amanda, like you do on Instagram. I love how you mentioned your public speaking, the fear. And I saw that you had, I was going to ask you about that because I noticed that there's so many who have these stories. How did you manage that? Like, look at you here. It's so beautiful to see what you're doing so naturally, and your offerings you're putting out there. They come from a place of someone who is just, or exudes ease with being with people and a genuine desire.
Yeah, I mean, man, I really realized I've always felt that I want to share. I want to share information. I want to help people. I've always had this pull. I'm not the best writer. I definitely am a better speaker now that I've been practicing, but what really forced, like what I really did was I started committing to things that I couldn't back out of. So for example, the first public, like in-person workshop that I did, a really good friend of mine had hosted, and this was in Vancouver, and she had a few wonderful speakers there, and I think somehow I can't remember if she asked me to speak or I suggested I speak, but I was like, I'm going to put myself in a position to not say no. Like, I can't say no. I'm going to have to say yes. And at that time, I also wore glasses. And so I would take off my glasses so that I wouldn't really see the faces in front of me.
It takes.
And it's, yeah, like whatever it takes. And I really just started to commit to some things where, you know, I don't want to let people down. So yeah, I'm going to just push through the anxiety, the nervousness, the anticipation before a speaking type of event, whether it's on camera or in person, because I know that I really want to share with people. And I really love bringing people together, like bringing people together and learning from each other. Really, I love that too. Group work is amazing because everybody has different life experiences. So sharing stories or tips or tricks, whether it's meal prepping or how to start public speaking, whatever it is, like we can all learn from each other in that sense. And then fast forward, I did have a green beauty e-commerce store with a friend of mine while in Vancouver. This was before the coves and all that. And we started a YouTube channel, and I resisted with all my might to not start filming videos, but she said this, like, this is our avenue. This is how we're going to reach people. So I very reluctantly started, you know, we have a YouTube channel. They're still up there. It's under the Green Beauty Collective. We just decided to leave those videos up there because it was fun and we worked really hard on them, even though we've since closed the business. But just committing to the things that you can't back out of, really, it was the trick for me personally. So
I love that. Committing to the things that you can't back out of. And I'm with you on that. That's a track I'm on.
Yeah.
And it's things that right here I feel. It's not just anything. It's things I'm like, oh yeah. And when that intuition, that voice speaks, I just know there's always a way. It may not be as easy, you know, from point A to point B, but it's possible, right? And then it's that awareness of the signs that are happening that are kind of keeping us moving along, or I call them trail angels, who appear when we're at those moments like, okay, this is too much for me. I can't handle it. Right?
Yeah.
And using this, using all these beautiful stories and experiences, Amanda, I think is really key to us as a society flourishing as we're meant to. We're not meant to play small, as I quote Marianne Williamson. And to me, that's just keep our gifts contained.
Yeah. there's and that, you know, the conversations don't have to be
Exactly.
perfect, because I always say this in my I also am a freelance makeup artist, hairstylist. Like, this idea of perfection is not something that resonates with me. Flawless doesn't really resonate with me. Everyone is unique, and everybody has their own unique features and something to offer. So this is reflected in my makeup work, I believe, as well as my nutrition work, because each person is treated as an individual. Like, I don't particularly want to make
Mm,
this person look like this person. There's definitely a time and a place for that. Like, it's fun, but on the daily, why not try to be as comfortable
yeah,
as possible in our own skin, you know? So it is tricky out there, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And videos, you know, there might be mistakes, or if you host a workshop or something, and I am
yeah,
speaking to myself again, it's scary to host workshops in the beginning, but you can just make improvements. There's the only way to figure out how it's going to work or not is to start doing it and then make adjustments along the way, because otherwise, if you don't try at all, it's you're just going to be
yeah.
left wondering, I feel.
Oh, I love this
Mm-hmm.
message. I really love this message, Amanda. And
Mm-hmm.
it crosses, it doesn't matter who you are, what age, what stage of life, what your status
Yeah.
is. And I see this as a common
Yeah.
mission. And I see this that we're here to companion each other on our own soulful
Yeah.
adventures. Even what you're saying right this moment
Yeah.
for me is like, come on, Annalisa, you got this. You got this, you know? Yeah, it feels overwhelming
Yeah.
right now, all that I don't really know about map and compass reading but I know I'm taking the
You
step.
can learn
Yeah.
it. I
And
know you
even if I
can.
don't know everything,
Mm-hmm.
I don't, the perfection thing, like letting go of that need to be perfect. And like you were saying, to have everything nicely, neatly packaged, including oneself, whether that be physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, before we put ourselves out there.
You'll be
Exactly.
waiting forever, I feel, if you're waiting for that perfect package.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
Yeah.
so, Amanda, also this piece that you bring out too, that I really want to emphasize as part of this, not even the possibilities moving forward, it's really tapping into that creativity. And
Yes.
I
Yeah.
love this quote. I pulled this quote. One of my favorite books is Take the Step, the Bridge Will Be There. I love it. Like, I brought it all the way from
Oh,
Niagara
nice.
when I drove out here 20 years ago. It made the cut. It's by Grace Chirocco. Nice Italian name. I believe you've got. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It's called
yes.
Take the Step. The Bridge Will Be There.
Mhm.
And it is
I'm going to write this.
beautiful. It's just a beautiful exploration into self, that peeling away
Mm,
those layers that keep our light dim, right? And tapping into that creative energy, that spark. And so I love this
yeah.
quote by Joseph
Yeah.
Campbell, and I'm sure you've heard it before. I say, follow your bliss and don't be afraid, and doors will open where you didn't know they were going to be.
So true.
Like, we would never have
Yeah.
met.
Oh, yeah. Like, we've only just recently connected, but I feel like
I
we've
know,
known
me
each other forever.
too. Me too, Amanda. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. But this
Yeah.
creativity, I love it, and how you're finding expression in soulful ways, soul aligned ways.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
Mm-hmm. It has to
yeah.
feel good, right? And I don't know about for you, but for me, when things really start to feel misaligned, or if I feel myself going off
Mm,
track a little bit, that like gut feeling, the intuition, I get a very specific kind of
mm,
feeling in my stomach when something just isn't feeling right for me. There's a slight difference between the bit of anxiety leading up to an event, maybe, but there's
yeah.
a very specific thing in my tummy. that is like, nope, this doesn't feel good. That's that intuition speaking a little bit. So I don't know what it feels like for you. I know it can be a little bit for
Yes,
people.
yes. I find
Mm-hmm.
I get a tightening, a tightening. It's just a
Okay.
constriction and throat and then into my chest and no, no. And
Yeah.
then if
Yeah.
I try to not, not even resist, because I'm just thinking the last few years to work within and push,
Yeah.
then what happens
Yeah.
is people
Yeah.
always say I have this energy and this smile. I'm like, that I became unrecognizable to myself because these pursed
Mm.
lips, I'm like, what the heck are those?
Mm-hmm. You're calling
I was,
yourself on your
and I
own
did.
crap, right?
I,
You're like, what is
I
even
did.
happening here?
Just like you're saying,
Yeah.
this ability, this not this desire to be aware of self-awareness, and this heightened level of consciousness is so critical to then step
Mm-hmm.
into these fears, whatever we want to call it, limiting beliefs, whatever judgments,
Yeah.
step into them, right?
Yeah.
And then take those steps to find out, who's telling me this? Does it make me feel good? Does it
Yeah.
make me feel better? Is it working for me?
Yeah.
Is it consuming my thoughts? And if
Yes.
so, am I ready to let it go? And releasing that though, and I see this so beautifully with you, you've then replaced with thoughts, with these involvements that are soul aligned,
Hmm. Thank
right?
you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying.
Oh, you
Doing my
are.
best out there.
So, Amanda, no, definitely. And I really want to take this moment to honor and celebrate you for where you are right now. And I
Thank
really invite you to look back at your
mm-hmm.
journey. We often don't do that in
Mm-hmm.
human
Yeah.
doer mode, right?
Oh, for sure. I've also started, if I
Yes.
may share, something that I've been doing fairly regularly now that is related to looking back, because you do
Yes.
want to recognize your accomplishments. That way, you know that you realize the progress that you've been making. So I have been journaling pretty regularly for a few reasons.
Yep.
I have a lot going on up here, so it's nice to get
Yes.
it down on paper, get the thoughts out of my mind and onto paper, but also listing, 3 accomplishments that I had completed for the day, whether it be work related, self related, whatever it is. And that way, it just really starts to sink in that you are making progress, because a lot of people will forget the progress that they've been making. And I worked with a great business coach when I had my green beauty business with my friend, and she would make us, before we started a session, she would have us list out, 10 things that
Yeah.
we had accomplished before the session. And then when we did that, we're like, oh yeah, we're doing okay. We're doing some great work here. We've done a lot. When you're in it, you don't really realize it. And you're like a bit of a
Mm-hmm.
hamster in a wheel feeling. Just taking that time to recognize what you have actually accomplished, no matter how small it might feel, can make huge impacts on how you're looking ahead as
Yes.
well.
And those thoughts that you're
Yeah,
we're feeding our minds are the ones, right? We talk
exactly.
about food,
Yeah,
nourishment. It comes in so many forms. And I love your oh so nourished because that's part of the food. For me, it's the soul food. And so if our thoughts at the end,
yes,
towards the end of the night, these 3 accomplishments, 3 wins, I mean, those are the thoughts that I want to carry with me. And it's funny, for years, my
yeah.
husband and I, for probably, I don't know, maybe 10 years, at the end of the night, one thing that I'm proud of.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm,
And something I'd like, or someone I'd like
mm,
to to pray for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something that I feel good about, that I'm proud of, and then an offering, a prayer. But it's these little rituals that become part of daily practice that don't have to be these big, like, oh my gosh, I've got to go away to a retreat. I need to, go and speak with a counselor, a therapist again. These little practices can do so much in shifting our mindsets.
So true. And I actually share this in my intro
Yeah.
to meal prep workshops that
Yeah.
I've been hosting. Yeah. And because it can sometimes feel like meal prepping needs to be this grand, full
Yes.
day of,
Yes.
Instagrammable type looking meals and all this stuff. It needs to be a big thing. But it actually doesn't have to be. If say you have that extra glass of water, or you came home from the grocery store and you were able to just wash and
Yeah.
chop up your veggies in 10 minutes so that you're able to cook them up later. Or if you have 20 minutes and you set a timer and you can just take 20 minutes to organize your pantry so that you know what's there. These little habits, and I also refer to
Yes.
Atomic Habits, the book.
Habit.
These little efforts will result in big impact, because it doesn't have to be a big, huge, all day event,
Yeah.
if you don't want it to be.
And
Yeah,
I
like
I
it's up to the
love how you
individual.
segued into your intro to meal prep, because I know this is a real passion for you, and
Yeah.
it so much, all these pieces of what we're talking about just come together in what you're offering. Can you share a little bit more about that, please?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. This kind of came up, it came up sort of on its own, but maybe it's just the universe being like, here, you've got this to work with. It's time to get things moving. So I did host a private intro to meal prep
Yes.
lesson for a couple of friends. They're both new moms. And this was in person. I put together a little PowerPoint. So it has led into hosting Zoom workshops, intro to meal prep. And really, it's before all the cooking starts. These are some strategies and some tips and tricks that I've learned along the way to help save time in the kitchen. A few different types of meal
Mm,
prep styles, depending on
mm,
the person, depending on life situations. Referring to atomic habits and how little tiny habits can have a big result. If somebody is easily overwhelmed
yeah.
with the thought of a full day in a kitchen, we can break it down into something smaller. And I get a little bit into the nutritional part of it of, we can ditch the idea of calorie counting when we do have a beautiful plate of whole, fresh, quality foods. And if you've got your protein, your complex carbs, your
Mm,
healthy fats, and you're eating regularly, a calorie is not a calorie. Quality of
yeah.
food makes a difference. Even in the experience of how you consume
Yes.
the meal makes a difference. For example, if you're sitting and enjoying Italy, man, there's a perfect example. Like, sit back, relax, enjoy your food, taste the food. It's high quality, simple ingredients, raised, well raised animal
Mhm.
proteins, and all the things. These are things we can bring into our more North American
Mm,
habits to just bring some connection back to how we're eating and how we're enjoying.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. That whole, like the connection. It's that connection
Mm-hmm.
really, because we've disconnected from so much, from each other, from food too, right? The source of where our food
Oh,
comes
yeah.
from.
And what
Yeah.
nutrition can really feel like, because just because it's on a shelf in a store doesn't mean that it is actually nourishing your body in a way that
Yeah.
you need it to. Just because the box says it's food
Yes.
doesn't really mean it's food. There's a lot of preservatives. There are a lot of products out there that are made to never expire, which in my opinion is super strange. and we are, I'll acknowledge I am very lucky to have been born in
Yeah.
this life that I have been and to have
Yeah.
all the access to food that I do have and to be able to have great quality food as well. Um, but I am also passionate about, again, it doesn't have to be a grand fancy meal. It can be very simple and still be very affordable and still be very
Mm-hmm.
nourishing as
Mm-hmm.
well. So there's ways for people to add some positive impact without feeling too restrictive. This whole idea of restriction and calorie counting and all that stuff too, for me
Yeah.
personally, it's not my jam. So I won't be talking about that. Like you won't catch me talking about that stuff, except to change mindset a little bit and how we can approach food and really use it to nourish the body and help with hormone balance and healing and even using herbs and all these wonderful things that we have
Yeah,
access
I
to.
love
So,
that. Even just that mindset shift for a lot of people, it's like, oh, eases that pressure and that rigidity that
yeah,
keeps so many not taking a step, lacking the confidence
yeah,
to take
yeah.
ownership, take really ownership
Hmm.
over their health and well-being.
Oh, yeah. And we have so much
Yeah.
power in our own health. Yeah. So we can stay, if we can learn how to heal ourselves, keep our immune system strong, get
Yeah.
outside in nature. I know you do this too. Just we can keep ourselves healthier longer and become less reliant on the quick fix pill or having a doctor tell us what's wrong with us when oftentimes we're like, no, this isn't
Yeah.
how I feel. I hear these stories a lot. So just really again coming back to the being able to tune in to what's happening
Yeah.
with the self and learning the
Yeah.
signals of the self.
That's,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I just love these conversations because it doesn't matter what my guests' passions are. In the broader sense, it all comes down to this
Right? Yeah.
inner
Yeah.
wisdom, inner knowledge, and reconnecting with self, and not seeing that as something to be feared or resisted. But that's why I call it the soulful adventure,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
And
Yeah.
looking at what is it holding us back from taking that step. So tuning tuning in, and the ways you've expressed that you do it, Amanda, I mean, are so, like this journaling or these 3 wins, these rituals, these practice, these atomic habits. They clearly help shape your life and directed your path.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And also trying to connect with a
Yes.
community that really that's also been a big thing for me is really understanding that the
Mm,
support is out there.
yeah.
You it is. And that's been a big lesson for me for a long time too, just through my own, you know, journey growing up
Yeah.
and my own family dynamics and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So yeah, the support is there for people. It might not be in your initial circle, but there's definitely, if you branch out a little bit and start looking for it and asking around, people are
Yes.
there for
So
sure.
true. And
Yeah,
your intro to the food prep, you're building community within that as well?
definitely. So
Yeah,
this is
I love
still like a
it.
baby project that
You're
is growing.
birthing.
So my my idea, what I would love to have,
Yeah.
and I'm going to say it out loud here so that it could maybe flourish, is I am hosting these intro to meal prep workshops, and I have a couple of others in mind. But I would love to have a private membership community area where people can come and plan
Oh,
together, and I would love to host some regular live planning sessions, but then within that space also have some pre-made meal plans, potentially have some,
yeah.
guest conversations like we're having here. I am big into movement, exercise and movement. Dance has always been something.
Yeah.
Yoga, I love all that stuff. So I picture that coming in at
Yes.
some point as well. Like these are all little pieces of the
Yes.
wellness puzzle. So there isn't just one answer.
Yes.
So it's figuring out the little puzzle pieces that work for you too.
Oh, Amanda, I see this. I feel it. I feel it for you. I feel it happening for you. And I'm stepping back and I describe my own life using these pieces too, because it is all integrated for me.
Yeah,
Body,
yeah,
mind, spirit, that connection. There is no separation.
yeah.
And um, attempts or situations where that connection is not being nurtured are the ones that do this to me.
Yes. Yeah. When you start to feel
Yeah,
the things in the body that's like feeling off.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about this community piece, Amanda. Well, with everything you're doing. And I'm curious, and for our viewers, family out there, what are the ways that they can connect with you? What are the best ways to reach you?
Mm. I'm pretty active on Instagram. I am, the DMs are open. I have a lot of chats there, voice notes, text chats, whatever. And then also my website, amandagangoso.ca, where I do have both
Yeah,
my makeup work and my nutrition work on there. And they do sometimes cross over too. It's kind of interesting. I often talk about nutrition while I'm, prepping skin and we're talking about skin health,
yeah.
things like that. So really Instagram for now and my website would be the best ways to get a hold of
That's
me.
wonderful. And it just, I think when you're following your heart, you see connections. You see that.
Yes.
It's not even like you have to work at it because,
They
yeah.
just start coming, honestly. Yeah, when you start opening yourself up to these things, they just start
And
coming.
so this is what this is right here, an invitation for you to keep opening, for
Yeah.
me to keep opening. For those of you who are listening, perhaps this is something you needed to hear today.
Yeah.
Amanda.
Aw,
Oh, you're
thank you.
most welcome. I am very mindful of your time too. Is there anything else you wanted to? I mean, I could talk. I got look at this, my pasta maker, my Italia book. We could do a whole thing on Italia because there's also connections here too. And
Oh man, I would love to talk about, oh man, I took a pasta making
wow.
class when I was in Italy and the simplicity of it, oh my goodness, it was just like crazy. It's the best. So I'm like I say, I'm
Yeah,
gluten-free-ish. I'll enjoy
the good, well,
the
that's
good
it,
stuff.
right?
The good
You're
stuff.
selective.
Yeah.
And when I think of these simple experiences that we talk about, these basics, are the ones that down the road. So I think of my mom with her dementia now. What
Yeah.
she is, what brings her joy at this time, even though she doesn't have her kitchen where she created. My mom everything was from scratch, just like my mom.
Yes.
Everything. She's in a care home and doesn't have access to that. But
Yeah.
the joy of the simple things in life, of being together, of sharing song, of sharing, even me being able to sit with her and she eats these meals that are prepared, never ate in restaurants, like with such curiosity and such gratitude. She's thankful to everyone for what they've prepared, and everything is just so incredible. This is gorgeous. Look at this color.
Yeah.
She may not even be able to name all of the food, the vegetables, whatever's on her plate, but this sense of awe and gratitude.
Oh yes. Yeah, I love
And
that so much.
that comes from really being present in the moment
Mm-hmm.
with ourselves, with all nature, and also with each other, soul to soul, Amanda. And so I thank you for feeding my soul and so much more today. And I look forward to sharing this video with you. And again, please feel free to pass that along. And any other opportunities for us to connect, I'm more than open. Mhm. Oh,
Amazing.
you're
Thank you so much,
welcome.
Annalisa. This hour went by really
I know.
fast.
I'm looking, going, wow. I can, yeah. And I never know how
Yeah,
long or
yeah,
what's going to actually happen.
yeah.
I don't like to plan too much because I just want to go with the flow
Yes.
and what is sitting on your heart at this very moment, you know? And I really
Yeah.
thank you because this conversation for me too is a great source of healing. Being able to
Thank
speak, being able to
you.
share our authentic voices uncensored. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. It
Feels
is,
good.
one
Yeah.
of the most underrated contributors to healing. And beyond that, because you know
Mm-hmm.
what, Amanda, we're into flourishing now. We're like these flowers that are all these seeds that have broken through what looks like barren
Yes.
land and are blossoming. So are we. Soul to soul.
Yes. I love that. Thank you again for creating such a lovely space, and I'm quite
Yes,
sure we'll be in touch soon.
Amanda, thank
Yeah.
you. Have a beautiful, blessed day and many more adventures, Amanda. Thank
You as
you.
well.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank
Have a
you,
wonderful
everyone,
day.
for joining us. Ciao.